home to start the season.
4-7.
Kyle, that's just absolutely unacceptable.
And it's not like a gauntlet schedule.
No.
It's not like, man, they've had OKC and Boston and Cleveland. Hey, what are you going to do?
No. The problem is that those teams are going to roll through Sacramento, and you're going to take losses to those teams. And when you start out 4-7 at home, I just don't get it. Like 5-5 on the road, 4-7 at home. It's just unacceptable. Like just straight up. Like, man, your family's sitting in there, sitting in the crowd. I don't get it. And
they have a. Here's the thing. Like watching the last few games, I don't think it's an effort problem, which is an issue, which is I think a bigger issue here. They have the same problems. We're going to hear from Malik Monk here in a bit. And this Malik Monk press conference that we're going to listen to could have been from last year.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same fundamental problems that they had a season ago. And that's where we're doing the blame game, which is fine. 9-12 after 21 games when you expected to win 50 and be in the playoffs is a fine time to start pointing fingers. That's why, to me, I see people in the chatty house, is it time to fire Mike Brown yet? Is on Mike Brown? Okay, maybe. But at the same time, to me, this is a front office problem first. They don't, they're not making threes right now, which is an issue.
Yeah.
They're not shooting enough threes, which may be a coaching thing. But they gave up too many threes last year, and they do the same thing this year. Because we can talk about the offense all we want, and we'll talk about Keegan Murray, who is a whole separate conversation. But right now, the Kings don't make enough threes. They give up too many threes, and that to me is the crux of what plagues them so far this year. And there's, again, fully acknowledging there are 100 other things, and we will talk about those other things. But when you look at game in and game out, hey, what's the same thing we talk about every week?
3-point shots.
3-point shots.
3-point defense.
They're being outscored by 15 plus every game. They have had 4 games this year where they have outscored the opponent from the 3-point line.
I think
and they've lost 2 of them.
It was they got outscored 69-36 from 3.
Come on, dude.
They got outscored by 33 points.
33 points, dog.
Kyle, there's no way to recover from that. I will tell you this. Points in the paint. The Kings dominated.
Yeah.
Dominated. Fast break points. Kings dominated. Second chance points. Dominated. Points off turnovers. Dominated.
Come on.
Absolutely crushed the Spurs. You lost one real statistical category last night. You had 5 more made field goals than they did.
You shot 19 more field goals than they did. And you made 5 more. And you lost?
Yes.
Dog. That's what? And that's where that's where I'm stuck. Like they started Malik Monk last night. That's what everybody's wanting to see.
Yeah.
All right, Malik Monk started. Offense, 42 points in the first quarter. Just cook it. And then they have defensive issues that come with it. And they have defensive issues throughout the game. And I think their defensive issues are not scheme related, and that's why I'm not pointing the finger at Mike Brown. At least not yet.
Yeah, I mean,
they just don't have the dudes.
I guess, but okay, let's look at the fourth quarter. They're up 42-25, right? They're up 42-25. Isaac Jones has a dunk with 3 seconds left. Then they give up a what is it? Tyus Jones is there? No.
Trey Jones.
They gave up a Trey Jones 40-foot 3-point floater.
His only 3-point make of the night, by the way.
That's what they give up. But you didn't even put a hand in the guy's face. Yeah. So instead of going into the second quarter up 17, you go in up 14, which you're still up a ton.
Right. You feel good about it.
You feel great about it. But still, it's those little moments, those little letdowns that have plagued this team and are really what will be written on the gravestone if they don't figure it out.
That's it.
This is it. Like, if you don't figure out how to not foul a guy with 1.2 seconds left on the shot on the halftime clock in the backcourt,
insane.
What are you doing? You put a guy at the line and give him 2 free points?
The Trey Jones half court shot, I legitimately thought I missed something. The way he walked into it, I went, "Oh, that must have been way after the buzzer."
Yeah.
And it was not. They put the points on the board. It was very, very much not after the buzzer. But that was how they defended it. It was like the horn had sounded. They went, all right. But he got to walk into it. And I mean, half court shots aren't like easy. But when you walk into it and you're an NBA player,
yeah,
you're going to have a decent shot and he knocks it down. And like you said, it's just those are the little things that accumulate over the course of a game that allow you to smoke a 14-point lead to a team that, I mean, the Spurs have a better record than the Kings, but I wouldn't call the Spurs some elite team.
Oh, no, the Spurs aren't great. It was the end of the third quarter, my bad, where Keon Ellis fouled Jones again.
Yeah.
1.6 seconds left in the backcourt. You foul a guy because you got upset about the previous call.
It's not great, man.
Yeah.
And the urgency that was reflected last year or after last year where they won 46 games gives me reason for concern after a slow start to this year after 21 games.
Well, I'll tell you the biggest thing that you can just point to and say, okay, there's reason for concern. Mike Brown has spent the last 2+ years telling everybody that he loves Malik Monk as a sixth man because that's how you build a team.
Yep.
Because Mike said it last week, you never put your five best guys out on the court to start the game. Because if that doesn't go well, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
You just already put the 5 best guys out there. Well, last night he put the 5 best guys out there. Malik Monk had played 162 games for the Sacramento Kings without starting once. And now he's your starting shooting guard. And once you hit that button, there's no going back. It's
Malik's the starter now.
Kyle, that's it. Malik is your starter now.
Yep.
And so that was the last bullet Mike Brown had to try to get this team over the hump.
It worked for 12 minutes.
Hey.
Which was the concern.
Where do you go now?
Right. That was the concern is, okay, great. Your first 12 minutes might look awesome.
Yep.
But what's the rotation look like after that? Isaac Jones had the game of his life. Scores 12 points. He's your leading scorer off the bench. Your rotation is 9 dudes deep, and it features Colby Jones, who has done more in Stockton than he has in Sacramento this year, and Isaac Jones, who is an undrafted rookie who was at a junior college, 3-4 years ago?
Yep.
That's where we're at. And that's fine. Like if that being 2 significant players in your rotation off the bench is fine if you're the Jazz.
Yeah.
And that points to kind of where Sacramento is right now. They're that your starting 5 / closing 5, same 5 are awesome. Everybody knows it. But you can't be 5 guys deep in the NBA. Pause. It just doesn't. That doesn't play. If the Kings were playing against the Kings, we would go in going, yeah, their first five are fine, but like after that, they're nothing to write home about.
No.
And even their first 5. DeMar DeRozan, 28 points last night on 10 of 20. Okay, great. That's an efficient 28-point night from him. Although I have a small gripe about the idea of exchanging 3 for 2 because you're working for mid-range shots, but that can be later. 28 points for DeMar DeRozan. Good night. 5 boards, 8 assists, 3 steals.
He had 18 in the first half, didn't score again until the fourth quarter where he put up 10. No, 16 in the first half.
Domas, 25, 13, and 6. 10 offensive boards. Good night.
Yep.
Good night. De'Aaron, not his best night. 9 of 23, had 23 points, 6 boards, 9 assists. 3 of 8 from 3. Not the best game, but you feel okay about that outing from De'Aaron.
9 assists and 6 rebounds. Okay. That's a good night.
I'll take that.
Yep.
Malik, starting debut, 19, 7, and 6. Had a steal, had a block. Shot 5 of 10 from 3. The rest of the team shot 7 of 22 from 3. Not great. And then there's Keegan, who led the team in minutes played at 38. He goes 4 of 9 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, 6 boards, no assists, a steal, a block. He scores 8 points. He was a -4. And that's where we go, okay, the starting five's been great. And it's like, has it? Like, statistically, yeah. But it's not 5 dudes where it's like, man, that's 5 dominant players. It's Domas and Fox and DeRozan, and Keegan's over there too, which is suboptimal for me. I was expecting some kind of jump from Keegan. I was expecting some kind of leap from Keegan. And we're not seeing it. At least not in the ways that he needs to take a leap. Is he rebounding more effectively? Sure. But like, dude, you got to put the ball in the hoop, specifically from beyond the arc.
No, I mean, that's the end of it right there. Like, at what point, like, we've had this conversation before, and we started going over like the advanced numbers on Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And I hear these murmurs from people around the team that, oh, Keegan's doing too much. Oh, he's working too hard to get a shot. Oh, he's missing his threes because he's been running around. Okay, look, Keegan's playing really good defense. Like last night, he had 2 incredible stops at the rim late in the game, right?
Yep.
He's not playing defense that's like so stunning that everyone in the league is talking about Keegan Murray as like the best defensive small forward or power forward in the league.
He's a very good defender.
He's a good defender, but he's not like only playing defense, and that's his only job. My problem is that, like, what exactly? I'm not seeing him doing the DHO off the dribble handoff off the Domantas Sabonis screen at the top. That's gone.
I feel like that aspect of their offense that was so deadly is just gone.
Oh no, that's gone completely. And there's reasons for it, but like, I start going through some of the advanced statistics on his shooting stats from NBA.com. Very tight coverage, 0 to 2 feet. Keegan Murray hasn't taken a shot this season with tight coverage.
He has not taken a contested 3 all year.
A contested 3 all year.
Okay.
2 to 4 feet, tight defense. Only 1.7 of his total shot attempts, 1.7 from 3 for overall shot attempts are from with a defender 2 to 4 feet, and he's shooting 25% on those. Here's where it gets crazy.
1.7%.
Only 1.7% of his overall shots come with a man 2 to 4 feet from behind the arc.
Okay.
Open threes, 4 to 6 feet. 18.3% of his shots are open.
And he should be knocking those down at a very high clip. He's
shooting 18.2%.
He's shooting a worse percentage than the percentage of his shots that those are?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Well, it's 18.3 frequency versus 18.2%.
Oh, my God.
And then wide open threes. No one within 6 feet of him. 28.6% of his overall shot attempts are wide open threes. He's shooting 33.3%.
Which I bet is way below league average for somebody that came into the year shooting, what was he, 37% for his career?
Yeah.
Coming into the season?
Something like that.
I'm guessing 33%. I'm guessing players who shoot 37% from 3 on wide open threes shoot something like 45%.
Yeah.
And he's shooting 33%.
Yep. Okay, so Kyle, let me hit the other thing is, like, he's not creating for himself on these threes. So all of these open and wide open threes, just so people know, 0 dribbles.
Straight catch and shoot.
44.8% of his overall shot attempts, including almost all of his 3-point attempts, are straight up 0 dribble catch and shoot.
Wow.
0 dribble wide open catch and shoot, or 0 dribble open catch and shoot. The next highest frequency, 2.5% of his 3-point attempts are 1 dribble.
Ugh.
Kyle, he has 2 dribbles, 0.8%, 3 to 6 dribbles, 0.4%.
He's not creating for himself at all.
He's not creating for himself. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're not dogging on him for not creating for himself.
Right.
What I'm saying is that all of his shots are catch and shoot, and they're either open or wide open. Like,
he should be shooting 47% from there.
It's shocking. 0 dribble threes. He's shooting 28.7%. 1 dribble, just put the ball on the ground to get a rhythm. 16.7%. He's hitting. So I don't know what to say. Like, at some point, if you're a coach, A coach who literally has done nothing but tell this kid, please, Keegan Murray, shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. And then you get into a game last night and the shots aren't falling. And not only that, but what's he end up with? 2 3-point attempts? Yeah, he goes 0 for 2.
Like, that's just, you can't have that. Like, that was supposed to be a fundamental piece of their offense was, hey, we talked about it all year. Keegan shot 35% from 3 last year, but he was 41.1% as a rookie. So there's an ascension to the mean coming. Watch out. Keegan's going to hit a ton of threes this year. He's going to have open looks because defense is collapsing DeMar on De'Aaron and Domas, and Keegan's going to have all these open looks. He should shoot 8 or 9 a game and shoot 40+%. And man, it's going to be unstoppable. And now he won't even take them?
No.
What are we doing here?
I don't know, man.
I don't, and this is not, and I want to be clear, when I say what are we doing here, I genuinely don't know, because I'm not in the, oh man, Keegan stinks now, he's got to go. But whatever they're doing offensively is just not, he doesn't fit. And that's a tough pill to swallow for me.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with him either. And like, look, I'm not saying Keegan Murray's a bad player, and heaven forbid, I'm not telling anyone that the reason why the Kings are where they are in the standing is because of Keegan Murray. This is a problem, though. It is a symptom that you have to figure out what the problem, what the underlining like issue is here.
Right.
Something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's doing is it's making a player that's typically like everyone thought was on the rise and just like wiping out who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not the same player, and you got to figure out what that is. And, I think the first thing is like, okay, well, you did go out and you brought in a guy who's just a straight bucket and DeMar DeRozan, right?
Cool.
And so you think, okay, he's going to have less opportunity. And sure, his shooting attempts are down. I'm going to assume they're down a little bit per game over his previous 2 years.
He is down 1.2 shots per game from last year.
Okay, but that's not enough to change the entire trajectory of you as a player.
No.
Where you went from being an elite 3-point shooter as a rookie to 27.4% or whatever he's shooting now from 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the way it goes.
Doesn't make any sense.
I hear people go, oh, well, his month of December last year was bad too. It's like, okay, you're right. He shot 38.8% from 3 and I mean from the field, and 26.2% from 3. So there is a possibility that he's just a slow starter.
Okay.
We see this in baseball all the time.
I saw this as well. So I went and did some number crunching.
Yep.
Through 21 games last year. He missed a few. So it was like 25 games for the Kings, but 21 for Keegan. We're in mid-December last year when he got to his 21st game. He was 16 points, 5.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists, shooting 44.7% from the field, 36.7% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. This year through 21 games, 12.2 points, 7.8 boards, 1.6 assists on 41.5%. So 3.2 points worse from the field, 27.4% from 3, about 9 points worse from 3, and 82.8% from the line, about 3 points worse from the line. I don't think this is Keegan's a slow starter. Like, well, then he's getting slower.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I don't think Keegan is bad now, but I do wonder what happened that led to this, because I don't think it's a matter of, oh, well, he started slow and now he's in his head and so he's just not shooting. I don't think it's that. I don't buy, he's tired. I don't buy that anymore. After he was playing all those minutes, if they had the 3 days off, I was like, okay, I'm expecting a big night. And we just haven't gotten one. It's gotten worse.
Well, that, Kyle, and the other thing is we said, okay, look, it's understandable he's getting less opportunity because you brought in a player like DeMar DeRozan. And so, of course, there's going to be less shots. There's going to be less opportunity. Well, we just went through a stretch where Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis all missed games. And you had one game where he had 21 points, where Keegan had 21 points. The rest of them are the exact same thing we've seen every other night. and it's just hit and miss. You don't know if he's going to have 6 points or 8 points or 14 points. You don't know. And when you can't write something in pen for a player, that's when things get shaky.
When I'm confidently slamming the less on Prize Picks,
for
Keegan Murray points, that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah. No,
and that's like I know that sounds trivial, but that's where it's at with Keegan. Well, I don't have any faith on a nightly basis that he's going to go out and give me what did we say that he averaged 15.2 last year.
Yeah.
Are you confidently going into any game over the next month going, yeah, Keegan will give you 15 in that one? I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a, hey, I have to take a back seat to Domas and De'Aaron and Malik and DeMar, and I'm missing my shots and I just don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. And if it is, then there's an issue here because you're 24 years old. You're in year 3. Figure it out. Like, you have to learn to coexist with other good players.
Well, that's
part of it.
I hate to tell everybody this. Keegan Murray is now your 5th option on offense.
Like, by a lot.
By a lot. Because Malik Monk just moved into starting lineup. And so the trickle-down effect is that. What I need to see, I think Mike Brown he tried to figure this out last night. He had De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray as his primary 2 scorers in the game off the like when they went to a second unit.
Okay.
Right? So in the rotation, it was those guys with Isaac Jones, Jay Crowder, maybe Colby Jones.
Very obvious that those are your 2 guys.
Yes. And like, I feel bad saying this, but like the Colby Jones experiment, it has to stop now. Like, I don't, there's
just not an effective player.
Well, there's no way he can't just you can't try to develop him right now with the parent club.
Nope.
Like, whatever's happening with him, he's a good kid. He's got a good skill set. It's not working. He's like a negative 55 over his last 6 games.
His timeline doesn't match with Sacramento's. Sacramento is like now, like they need to figure it out today.
Well, and if Mike Brown is going to go with Isaac Jones, then
what a good game last night.
He can't do Isaac Jones and Colby Jones at the same time.
Yep. But
he doesn't really have another option. Like, you keep going up against teams with big guards, and you don't have the necessary players to do that. And I get it. Devin Carter isn't playing, and maybe he gives you a little bit more versatility. He's not a big guard either, but he at least would give you more versatility. His length, you know, his wingspan's bigger than Kevin Huerter's wingspan, and so there's a possibility. But at the same time, like, what is the out here? How do you get better? And I don't know what the answer is. And it's really difficult because schematically, yes, you have to do something different defending the 3. But you also have to expect more from players like Keegan. That's like, if you're going to put all your eggs in this bucket and you're going to like say he's untouchable for the last 3 years, like, this is a very difficult situation, and I don't know how you get through it, but everybody there needs to be pulling the same way. And are we adding fuel to the fire by talking about it? Yeah, but like, it would be irresponsible if we're not. Like, at some point, players have to actually perform on the court.
Yeah, like that's the point of the sport. The players are the guys who are going to affect the games.
Yeah,
the most. You have to execute. You have to have the right skill set. You can't just throw bad players out there and go, yeah, or I should say, again, in the context of NBA.
Yep.
Colby Jones would beat the average person with his left hand and wearing flip-flops by 21 in a game to 21.
Yep.
But in terms of NBA players, like, it's just not, he's not there yet.
No, he's not there yet. And he might get there someday.
And the Kings can't afford to let him figure it out here.
Well, no, because you're falling behind with every single game. You're now 9-12.
Yep.
And when you come out of a game and you got a guy with 28, a guy with 25, a guy with 23, and a guy with 19, and all of them have tons of stats besides that. 9 assists, 6 assists, 6 assists, 8 assists from that group of players. 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 13 rebounds, 5 rebounds from that group of players. And then the rest of the group is not being able to support that. That's about roster construction.
Yep.
And it's about, there are some scheme things that have to change here. But overall, you got to figure this thing out right now.
Yep. That's it. We've got a silver lining though for the Kings. We'll get to that. We'll have some Jiffy Lube gift cards to give away, or gift certificates for you to give away. And we're going to shift gears and talk some 49ers, which is somehow worse than where the Kings are at. It's great. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. If you'd like to join the program, we would love to hear from you. We don't have a call screener, so when you call, we're just gonna put you on the line, and we'll turn the phone up when we're ready to go to you. So have some patience. If it rings, let it ring, or call back, and we'll get to as many people as we can today on the Elk Grove Kid Talk line at 916-909-1320. That's James Hammond, Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we're going to talk about Jiffy Lube here in a second on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. We are the Insiders. That's James. I'm Kyle, and we want to talk to you about our friends at Jiffy Lube. And there's not a more important time to get your vehicle into Jiffy Lube than right now ahead of the holiday driving season. They have a holiday special, James.
Ooh.
Where you can get a $33 online coupon right now at jiffylube.com for $33 off that oil change that if you're like me in my household, that you have at least one car that definitely needs it.
Yeah, definitely. It's for synthetic oils. Go to jiffylube.com, get that, download that coupon. But also while you're there, get new wiper blades. Safety first.
Yes, please.
It's huge. I went out and checked my son's wiper blades, and they crumbled in my hand. They literally crumbled in my hand. Like, the kids these days, they don't know how to change a wiper blade. Send them into Jiffy Lube. The headlights, you got one headlight out on your car. Have them check your headlights. They will replace headlights, and there's nothing worse than not having good vision when you're out there on the road. So definitely jump over to Jiffy Lube and have this stuff taken care of.
Yeah, those brake lights too. You don't want something bad to happen because your brake lights are out.
No, brake lights. Hey, if your car's not turning over because it's cold in the morning, Kyle, have them check your battery. See if your battery's still good. Have them replace your battery.
Yes.
Like, it's a one-stop shop here. Absolutely spectacular.
All essentials at Jiffy Lube ahead of the holiday driving season. Visit jiffylube.com to find the location nearest you. It's jiffylube.com. Clear! We did it, everybody! Woo!
Woo! Wow. Yeah, I don't think we're Chris. I don't think we're going to talk about Michigan today. Just saying. Yeah, David. I highly recommend you go listen to Mike's post game last night. He talked about switching. He talked about, what they're trying to do to. Why it is that some of the shooters are open. The game plan is to not allow inline drives at Domantas Sabonis. It's to collapse the lane because you don't have an elite rim protector, and your big man picks up fouls. And by doing that, you sag off the shooters, and the shooters the Kings aren't closing out fast enough. And at some point, you're going to have to make some sort of adjustment. And I asked him specifically about that last night. And I would just listen to it because he goes into detail on all of it. I think Brennan even asked him about switching. And there's a lot in there. If you have those questions, he answered them. No, Russ Dog, I don't want to talk about WWE.
Who was asking about Michigan? Besides Michigan?
I can't. It was.
Yeah, dude. The Eagles might win the Super Bowl.
Oof. You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. They're the one team that I think can oh, I thought he was waving at me. They're the one team that I think can hang with the Lions offensively in a way that keeps the Lions offense off the field. And I trust Jalen Hurts more than I trust Jared Goff.
When I watch Hurts, I'm always left with this idea that there are so many quarterbacks that kind of do what he does, but are just more accurate when they start moving. Like, I think he's a great runner, and I think when he stays in the pocket, he's a really good passer. But then there are these moments where he gets outside the pocket, and you're expecting some pass.
Talking about Hurts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just not good. He's so inaccurate outside the pocket.
Buries so many throws on the run.
Yeah, it throws him out of bounds.
Behind the guy at his feet, like, oh.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are good.
People are asking, again, if you guys want to go listen to Mike Brown, the baby daddy, Monk is starting. He's starting now. That's it.
Yeah, it's not even a read. That's just what it is.
Oh, Bryce is asking if we want ornaments from Disneyland.
No, I'm good. I appreciate you, though. Thank you, Bryce.
All right. We have an eclectic Christmas tree, like with things from our childhood and our kids' childhood.
Enjoyed Disneyland, by the way, Bryce.
Yeah. Is he there right now?
Very jealous. I think so. Extremely jealous. Okay, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
What's funny?
I'm not going to pull it up on the screen because it's
Thank
inappropriate.
You. Oh, okay.
But someone in the chat named Special Ed has an opinion on what Keegan Murray needs.
Oh. Oh my goodness. All right.
Oh my goodness, Special Ed.
We're gonna skip that. 916-909-1320. It's the Elk Grove Kia Talk Line. We're talking Kings. We're going to talk 49ers here in a bit because, man, you think the Kings are a mess. The 49ers are in a different layer of hell than the Sacramento Kings are, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But first, we have to get to our guy, Don, on the Elk Grove Kia Talk Line. Don, you are live on the Insiders. What's up? Hey, Don. Aaron?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, man? You're on the Insiders.
Hey, man, how you guys doing? Appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, thank you.
I got a question for James.
I'm listening.
Hey, if you're the Sacramento Kings GM, are you paying Keegan Murray?
Good question. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
I'm paying him.
We were gonna get there.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Expedite the convo.
I'm paying him.
We can avoid talking about the 49ers for as long as we need.
Okay. But what does Kenny like to say? Today's price is not yesterday. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is in a different way.
But the opposite way.
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, there was a point early in the season and all of last season where I thought, oh, he's a max money rookie scale guy. But at this point, I'm paying him for sure because he's still a really valuable player.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm saying. And it's not what Kyle and I have been like diving into. The problem isn't whether he's a good player or not, is how do you fix what's going wrong right
exactly.
now?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the problem. You're trying to figure it out. But no, I mean, we're getting to a point where he's going from, an elite top 4 pick that's going to get a maximum scale rookie contract extension to somebody who's looking at more like the Cam Johnson 20 to 22 million, maybe the Kyle Kuzma 24 to 25 million range. That's a big difference. And I'd even say like the Buddy Hield range, the 4-year $86 million deal, the Harrison Barnes 4-year $85 million deal. That's where you're heading if he doesn't have a sharp turnaround. And like, I haven't lost faith in who Keegan Murray is as a player, or I'm also not advocating for trading Keegan Murray. I think there is a point where he is no longer untouchable, because if you're going to do what's right for everybody on the team, that means that you have to improve the roster. And one of the easiest ways to improve the roster is to throw draft picks in on a trade with Kevin Herter and maybe Trey Lyles and get up to $25 million
Sure.
and some draft picks and go get a player around that price, right? But one of the other options is to look at everything, and that means December 15th, you start looking at whether DeMar DeRozan is a long-term fix for your team and whether he becomes available. You have to look at Keegan Murray and his contract and his value on the open market and say, okay, is this our best way to improve? And I certainly would never advocate for trading Keegan Murray, because I think what you have to do is invest more time figuring out what happened here.
I would agree.
And fixing it.
Yeah, he's not like, if you're not going to give a player a rookie extension, that means they're like unplayable. Like they're bad.
Okay, but let me clarify though, because you can go into this summer, you have the option of extending him this summer, of offering him an extension.
Right.
If you don't come to an agreement, or he's not comfortable with what you're offering or whatever, you have another year where he plays out under his rookie scale deal.
Right.
His final year of his contract.
So Jonathan Kuminga is doing with the Warriors right now.
During that summer, the next summer, you also have the opportunity to extend him. And if not, if you extend a qualifying offer, which for Keegan will be like 13 or 14 million, then he has to play out a 5th year. And after his 5th year, he would be an unrestricted free agent. But you would still have his Larry Bird rights and can pay him more than anyone. So again, my point is that, like, the immediacy of, like, do you have to extend him this summer? No. And it might work out that this continues the whole season and you're left wondering what in the hell you have in Keegan Murray, and you're not comfortable offering him a massive extension, and his people aren't comfortable because they think whatever's happened here is either your fault or someone else's fault, and they want to wait it out. Okay, all of those are possibilities here. But as of right now, he went from being like a $30+ million a year player to more like a $20 to $25 million player very quickly. And
there's also 61 games left.
Yes.
Maybe he winds up averaging 16 a night this year, and he shoots 36% from 3 and goes on a tear. And we're talking about a different player. But through 21 games, it looks like there's some fundamental issue with what the Kings are doing and Keegan Murray not fitting what they're doing. And if that's a Keegan Murray specific problem, like he's like, hey man, I'm taking a back seat. I'm not the kind of player who's gonna go take shots from Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan. I'm like, all right. Then maybe you feel differently about him and his long-term projection as a player. But they have 60+ games to figure that out. And then, like you said, another couple of seasons before the rubber meets the road with Keegan. But I think coming out of last year, I was pretty confident, like, man, that's a max rookie extension player.
Yep.
He is 15+ a night. He's on the right trajectory. He got better defensively, which is really what you needed from him. Didn't have his best year as a 3-point shooter, but you're seeing the growth in his game. And we're not seeing the same thing this year.
No, I totally agree.
Flatline to falling off.
Yep.
And for was he 24 now?
Yeah.
Turning 24? And for a 24-year-old, that's a little scary. And that's why if you're asking me right now, are you giving him a max rookie extension? It's like, no. But they don't have to make that decision right now.
No.
But I'm more concerned today than I was 6-7 weeks ago.
Well, you're concerned because, like, he's in a funk. Something's wrong. And, like, it is on everybody, not just Keegan Murray, to figure it out. Part of it is Keegan has to do the work himself, right? And the thing is, he's a hard worker. It's not like he's not doing the work. So there's something that's missing here. And, someone in the chat brought up that Jade McDaniel signed an extension, $23 million, 24.8, 26.2, 28.5, and 30.3. That's probably more in line with what Keegan is looking at this point. He's not looking at the 30+. And I mean, that's fine. That's a dynamic that happens in the league all the time. The Kings would not shy away from offering Keegan an extension. It's just, how much is the money going to be?
Right.
And that's going to change.
Yeah. Is he still untouchable in trades?
I don't know. It depends on what your sense of urgency is. Can you wait it out? I mean, Mike Brown talked about this with Isaac Jones last night. Like Isaac Jones has to, when he gets on the court, he needs to be the player that he was last night, right? And that's it. Like if you're going to get an opportunity as an undrafted two-way player, it's all in. You better go out there and like we're not talking the 100%. Like you got to find whatever's above 100%, which I don't know if that's possible because 100% is the most possible. But you need to figure out if there's more than that in the tank, and you at least have to play at 100% breakneck speed the entire time. What you can't do is go out there and pick up 4 fouls really quickly and put your team in the bonus with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Man. So there's all of these things that you've got to work with, but I need to see the energy. I need to see the effort. I need to see the dunk putbacks and a guy who's sitting there waving at every single layup that's coming in. He's doing everything he can do, but you also have to look at that and say, can he continue that? Can he consistently bring that every night? Because
yes, that's the key.
And that's where Mike Brown was very clear, like, hey, look, I love what Isaac Jones is doing. That doesn't mean he's going to get an opportunity every single night. It also doesn't mean that he's going to stay in the rotation long term. I would love to see him do that, but he has to clear a bunch of hurdles in order to do that. And he's on a much tighter leash than anyone else. That's not who Keegan Murray is. Keegan Murray's still playing 38, 39, 40 minutes a night. Like
led the team in minutes played last night.
Yeah. It went 0 for 2 from 3.
2 3-point attempts in 38 minutes.
It's not that he didn't hit a 3. It's that he only took 2.
That's insane.
And I love the dunks, man. The dunks were incredible.
Cool. Amazing.
Hammering a ball down on Victor Wembanyama. Yes. Like that is showing a sign of growth. But like De'Aaron Fox has to shoot threes. Domantas Sabonis is not a natural 3-point shooter. He has to shoot threes. And part of the reason is because some of the other guys just aren't taking what they're supposed to do. Like
Keegan took replacing Harrison Barnes literally.
I've heard that a lot on the interwebs.
Tough. That's tough. Harrison Barnes last night, literally 8-7-2. Keegan 8-6-0.
8-6-0. Yeah.
Barnes went 3 of 8. Murray went 4 of 9. Like dog. You just the good. I don't know. I don't know if it's good news or bad news that. Forgive me for bringing up this name, but I promise it's going somewhere. Draymond Green said this about, not explicitly about James Wiseman, but he was talking about James Wiseman. How you'd rather have to like wind a player like back, a young player back, than have to like get them up for their role for a game, whatever it is. You'd rather have to scale back their energy than try and scale it up.
Yeah. Paul Westphal used to say it's easier to try to tame a fire than to light a fire under somebody.
Yes.
And of course he was talking about DeMarcus Cousins and then realized that it was a 4-alarm fire and the house was burning down.
Wrong fire.
Yeah.
wrong type of fire.
There was no taming that fire.
But that's kind of what I worry about with Keegan. Is this just him? Is this just his? And I hate the personality thing. I don't want to go there, because how a person conveys themselves publicly, it just doesn't. I don't care. He doesn't show emotion. I don't care. I don't give a rip. Neither does Kawhi Leonard. So I don't care about personality. I don't care about any of that. It's like the play style, the playing personality.
Yeah. And
is it going to be this constant? Hey, like if you're having to constantly be like, dude, you got to get it going. We're on year 3 of this, where it's, dude, I need more from him.
It's like 180 games in.
Yeah, that's the worry for me. And it's ebbed and flowed. And oh, hey, look, he had 47 against the Jazz, and then 25 the next night. And oh, hey, here he comes. And then oh no, there's 7 points the next night, and then 10. And that consistency, like you talk about it with Isaac Jones, and again, Isaac Jones and Keegan Murray in very different places, but with Keegan Murray, it's that finding that consistency, and the fact that the most consistent thing about him this year has been how passive he is a little bit of an issue. And Kenny and I talked about this a lot last year. It's like, dude, I want it. It's not that I think Keegan's bad. I think he's really good, and I want to see more from him, but we're just not getting more. And there's been opportunities for it this year, and we're still not seeing it.
Yeah, and then like I will kick back a little bit. I will say, all of a sudden he's averaging 7.8 rebounds per game.
Yeah,
like he's gotten better in certain aspects. He bulked up so he could defend bigger guys. I'll say, like, this isn't making an excuse for Keegan, but every single year the Kings have asked him to be something different.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what he was going to be as a rookie, but they did know he was going to start and play every game after the first game where they started KZ Okpala. He started 81 games that year, I believe, and I don't think he was right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Year 2, you asked him to be something completely different. He became this like all-world defender, which he was not before.
No doubt.
Like, he was solid as a rookie, league average defender. He takes this leap in year 2. All of a sudden, his athleticism is better, his lateral quickness is better. He's able to defend everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you made him into in year 2. Year 3, you're like, hey, we just signed DeMar DeRozan. We're going to need you to play the 4, so I need you to bulk up, get stronger. We're going to need you to rebound because we don't have any rebounders outside of Domantas Sabonis. And so you're asking him to be a different player than he was the year before. And so I don't know what to make of this, because the one thing that you could have done, like putting Keon Ellis in the starting lineup, we all like gloss over the fact that Keon Ellis lost his job again last night. And it went to Malik Monk. But what that does is, once again, Keegan Murray becomes your best defender with the starting unit, and he now has to defend whoever the best player is on the other team. And so you keep asking more and more and more from him on one side of the ball. So I do get that. But when you're not asking him to do a whole bunch on the offensive side of the ball, and it's like, hey, I need you to shoot threes.
That's it.
This does not look like fatigue to me. There was a point where he ran out of gas, and then you had a 3-day break. This looks like there's something going on where you need to do some big time work on somebody's psyche and get him back in the right frame of mind.
If you can't play defense at a high level and then also knock down some threes, then we need to recalibrate the conversation on what Keegan Murray is for this team moving forward. Like that. That's just the long and short of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet where I think he's bad now. But like you said, there's something going on. And whether they figure it out is, I think, going to determine a lot of their season and certainly a lot of Keegan Murray's long-term trajectory.
Yeah. I did not think this was a conversation we were going to be having. I was thinking that the conversation we would be having is that he wasn't taking enough shots because he became the 4th, 5th man in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Like we were sitting here and going, man, he's shooting 39%, but he's only shooting 4 threes a night.
Yeah, I need like 2 more shot attempts from you, man. And next thing you know, you'll be at 19 or 20 a game.
Yep.
That's what I thought we would be. And now it's like, we're well past that.
He's averaging, points-wise, what he was averaging as a rookie on 2 more shots a game. Not great.
Not great at all.
That's called regression, and we don't love that. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320 is the Elk Grove Kia talk line. Don, you're on the Insiders. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Charismatic Enigma.
What's up, man?
No talk. It's been a little busy for me, but anyways, I just wanted to chat on these Kings for a second. I think something I'm noticing a little bit of, and this kind of goes back to last year too, I think, is that we've been searching for, it seems like we've all been searching for an identity of this team, right? Like, are they this defensive stopping team that Mike Brown wants them to be? Are they a high-flying pace offensive team? Are they a three-point shooting team? Are they a drive and kick team? Like, what are they? I mean, basically is what we've been trying to figure out for, it seems like, almost 3 seasons. And it feels like we just keep moving the goalposts, or maybe Monty or Mike does, you know, like at some point you just have to pick a lane and you sort of have to stick with it, in my opinion, you know, like if you're going to start Kevin, and let's be this high pacey offense. If you're going to start Keon, and let's be this defensive team, but pick an identity and stick with it.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
No doubt. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the call. And it looks like they've picked that identity by putting Malik Monk in the starting lineup.
Well, that, and like, I mean, that's the problem that we have, right? We're going to bring this up at a different point, but I think it fits into this conversation right here. There was a point this offseason where Jay Crowder came in and worked out for the Kings for the better part of a week and connected with young players and was part of the pre-training camp buildup. They didn't sign him, right? This is a tough guy, a defensive-minded guy. Like, we still don't know at this point whether Jay Crowder has like a ton left in the tank. Like, he's played a couple of good games here. He's also been quiet for a couple of games. But there's a personality and a mindset to Jay Crowder that like everybody in the league knows, right? And the Kings didn't sign him. And then when they got to the end of training camp and they had a roster spot open, they had one preseason game left, right? And instead of signing Jay Crowder, or who was your group? JTA, Juan Toscano Anderson came in. Lonnie Walker came in. They had this group of players.
Not CJ Watson.
No.
I don't know why that name came to mind.
Tony Bradley.
Thank you.
Yeah, they had Tony Bradley come. Instead of signing one of those guys, right at the last second, they went out and signed another offensive player in Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott wasn't part of those groups that came in for workouts. He wasn't part of any of that. And then you just sign him. And this isn't like an accusation on Doug McDermott. Like, I think you need more three-point shooting. I think every team needs more three-point shooting. But there's a moment where you could have signed a Jay Crowder before the season started and given him an opportunity to build and work with this group and be your third or fourth forward. And you didn't do it. And then you do it 20-something games in, and it's like, Band-Aid, stick it on there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we get through a couple of games with Jay Crowder as a starter? And this isn't a dig at Jay Crowder. Like, I think Jay Crowder should have been part of this team from the beginning.
I agree.
He thinks he should have been part of this team from the beginning.
He sure does.
He had a really honest conversation with media on Saturday where he just sat there and laid it out. Like, hey, I thought I was playing here. Yeah. Hey, me and Isaac Jones totally bonded. He's been texting me the whole time. Like, we've been having conversations while he's not. Well, Jay Crowder's off watching basketball on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so, like, there is this dynamic of who are you and what do you want to be and like, what is your identity? And we keep talking about the identity. And I can agree that they need to pick an identity as either a fast-paced, like high-scoring team or a defensive team. But why not both? Like, that's what good teams do in the NBA.
Sure.
They don't just load up. I mean, look at the Boston Celtics. They're number 1 in offense, number 2 in defense last year. Okay, that's a great team, and they win a championship because of it.
I think I don't disagree, but I think the problem is there's a disconnect in what Mike Brown wants and how the team is being built. And I think Doug McDermott over Jay Crowder is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like that's
exactly.
Every team needs more shooting. I don't disagree. That is just correct, especially in the modern NBA where you're getting up 50 a night, or some teams are getting up 50 a night. If you're the Kings, you're getting up 34 a night. But every team needs more shooting. But for the Kings, like, not at the expense of what a guy like Jay Crowder brings. They don't have enough of all these other things that are like prerequisites to be a contender.
Yep.
And if you're throwing Doug McDermott onto the Celtics as like hey man, if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't knocking him down on one night, or Peyton Pritchard's not knocking him down, we have this guy who can go play 10 minutes and maybe give us a couple of threes. Not, hey, if Kevin Huerter doesn't work out, we have Doug McDermott. Like,
well, here's the problem that I have, Kyle. You could have had them both, and now you do have them both, and you didn't have to cut anybody. You could have just done that in the beginning.
And why they didn't? Anyone's guess.
Luxury tax is sitting right there. You're right at it right now.
Oh, I see.
So, like, look, at what point is it like, hey, are you in or are you not? Are you in or are you not? Because as of right now, you're playing games.
Yep.
You're playing games. You're playing games where you don't sign a guy for 20 games, where you do sign a guy that didn't come in and work out for you.
Baffling. It is a baffling season for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah. I mean, just keep going. You signed you drafted a 22-year-old player that can't play for 6 to 8 months.
Yep. Baffling. You know what's not baffling? Taking your car to Jiffy Lube ahead of the holiday driving season. That is what we're going to give you an opportunity to do on a little bit of a discount. We've got $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificates to give away. We're going to have 2 keywords for you, which gives you 2 chances to enter, and we'll pick a winner on Friday.
That's right.
So you'll have 2 keywords coming up that will give you 2 chances to enter to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift certificate at ESPN1320.com. We'll give those away. We'll continue the Kings conversation, and we do have to talk about the 49ers after their 35-10 demolition at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. We'll dive into all of that in the second hour. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is the Insiders on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. I'm going to save this and then run it.
All right.
If it's all the same to you.
I'm out of coffee.
Okay.
I can run later.
Or we can just both go. All right, Chatty House.
Well, I'm butchering this name. Now I have to look up something.
How much time do I have here? I'll be right back.
What's happening, everybody? Jay, I'm gonna pull this up because it keeps like whose seat is hotter and all that stuff. But like I don't like seeing anyone go because I believe that stability is one of the biggest things that the franchises should like strive for. But I will say this, they need to get on the same page right now, and they need to get a group of players that work. Again, I think management is more than fine with Malik Monk moving to the starting lineup, straight up. But they now have to replace Malik Monk because they don't have Malik Monk coming off the bench. So that's fine. If you're in management and you say, hey, my goal is to score as many points as possible. You just had your 4 best players go crazy and have a great game. And you scored 125 points. And oh, by the way, you lost by 2. Like, I don't know who it is that needs to, like, I don't think anyone needs to get fired. They just have to do better. They have to get on the same page and they have to, like, help each other build this thing out. Like, you have to get a shot blocker. You have to get, like, these are things. And if the answer is, hey, well, you have Alex Len and you're not playing him, and it's like, okay, but management wants offense, and that means that I really have to struggle to put Alex Len on the floor. He's not an offensive player. And so there's all of these like little things that are happening here. But what I don't like is that I saw this once before where they said, hey, Luke Walton, you're not getting fired. But you're going to be under contract he was under contract. I think he had 3 more years. You're not getting fired. But what we're going to do is we're not going to retain Kent Bazemore. We're not going to retain Alex Len. And we're going to let your starting shooting guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic, walk out the door. And we're going to replace those guys with a draft pick in which ended up being really good in Tyrese Halliburton. And yes, I think that was that year. And we're going to replace him with Hassan Whiteside and Glenn Robinson.
Here we go. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're rocking with you until noon. Then we will hand it off to D-Lo and KC. and they will take you up to 4 o'clock. We've talked a ton of Kings today, and we will continue doing that. We'd love to hear from you at 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That's the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. We also have to talk about the 49ers, who somehow find themselves in a worse spot than the Kings, which is really hard to do. But San Francisco lost to the Bills last night, 35-10. They've been outscored 73-20 in their last 2 games. Losing one game by 5 touchdowns is a bad look. Losing 2 games by 5 touchdowns is not great.
No.
That's a tough scene. I guess technically last night it's 4 touchdowns, 25 points. Yeah. All right. So
Close
9
enough.
touchdowns. Not so bad. 8 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey suffered a knee injury, a PCL injury, according to Kyle Shanahan. The extent of that injury and how long he's out is still TBD. Kyle Shanahan talks to the media today, or is scheduled to talk to the media today at 3:30. But dude, like last night was the perfect encapsulation of the entire year.
Oh, yeah.
Christian McCaffrey gets hurt early in the game. The 49ers can't tackle. Where the 49ers fumble at the goal line, Kyle Juszczyk's first fumble since 2020. He hadn't fumbled in 5 years. 5 seasons.
It's heartbreaking.
5 seasons. He fumbles at the goal line. Meanwhile, the Bills run a play where Josh Allen makes a bad throw. His wide receiver, Amari Cooper, makes a sick catch. Amari Cooper gets stood up and up lateral to Josh Allen, who dives for the pylon touchdown. It was a Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to go back to last week, maybe in the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Going up against a bad team. That's what San Francisco is right now. And we can talk about why. But the fact of the matter is what the 49ers, the product the 49ers put on the field last night was injured. But it is also, this is something we talked about going into the year. It's a very top-heavy roster. And we're seeing that, hey, some of their depth isn't good enough. Like, that's what last night was. I don't think it was schematic. I don't think it was, it might be some schematics on both sides of the ball. But what last night came down to was the 49ers don't have enough good players. They have too many guys playing who shouldn't be starting in the NFL. And that's kind of what it came down to. Meanwhile, the Bills are a Super Bowl contender. And the 49ers, we've known this for several weeks now, are clearly not. And that's what happens when a Super Bowl contender plays a team that is not this late in the year.
Yeah, I mean, I want to write some of it off to snow, and I want to write, but at the same time, this is a team that's just lost its way.
It was the same mistakes that they've been making all year.
Yeah. It's just a team that's fully lost its way, and the PCL injury, like strangely enough, I talked about this in the locker room with one of the Kings medical personnel. Basically, it's a ligament that goes hand in hand with the ACL. They cross the PCL and the ACL. The PCL attaches the femur to the major bone in the lower leg. And it's not usual. It's the strongest of all the ligaments in the knee, and it very rarely gets torn. So whatever happened here, it's basically, it looked like when he flipped up in the air on the long run, he came down and probably hit his shin and not his knee, and it pushed his shin back and injured that PCL ligament. So I don't know what it's not a standard, like it happens all the time injury, which most injuries in the NFL, ACLs, we all know exactly the timeline, MCL, whatever. This is going to be one that you won't know. Maybe they'll have a little bit of data on how to move forward with it. But I feel like isn't this something that Steph had last year, where he had a detached PCL, and we're all like, we've never heard this before, but he had basically had an avulsion fracture where it popped off the lower leg bone. So like I don't think this is a good thing. And for that matter, I would just bubble wrap this guy. I know he's a workout warrior and it's going to kill him, but Jordan Mason's been perfectly fine and probably should have been getting more carries as it is.
I can't. This is where the next step of of this year for the 49ers goes, and we'll have conversations about what this looks like in the future and Kyle Shanahan and this and that. Like we'll have all those conversations. But you have Christian McCaffrey now dealing with this PCL injury, whether it's torn or strained or whatever it is.
It's not good.
Put him on ice.
Yeah,
he should be done for the year. Fred Warner's playing on a fractured ankle right now. Get that fixed, bro.
Yep.
Do what you got to do to get that right. Trent Williams is dealing with an ankle injury and a horrific personal tragedy. His wife announced that their baby passed away. She announced that on Instagram like 2 days ago. They were going to have twins. One of the twins, if I'm reading this correctly, they lost one of the twins and then at 35 weeks lost the second one.
Oh my gosh.
So he's dealing with that. Like, you're good for the year, dude.
Yeah.
Like go be with your family. You have this ankle thing, but obviously the personal tragedy is so much more. Go handle that. Like there's no reason for these guys to be skirting. But hey, Travarius Ward, go be with your family.
Yeah.
Like go do that. Like it's incredible that he was able to have the mental fortitude to even come back in, what was it, 3 weeks he missed? Like that's incredible, but go be with your family. Like that's what this year should be about now, is get guys healthy, let people handle their personal stuff. And it's no longer about, hey, can they make the playoffs? Because even if they make the playoffs, okay, let's go to that world real quick. Let's go to the world where Trent Williams comes back and he plays through it, and Fred Warner plays through it. And oh my gosh, look at this. The 49ers have gotten to 10-7. They won out. They upset the Lions. Oh my God, what a team. They got to go to Philly or Detroit in round 1? Good night.
Just bought an extra game.
You're
that's
losing
all you
by 30.
Yeah.
So that's what the year's cooked. And whether that means the future's cooked, TBD. But this year is over. And if you didn't think so after the Seahawks game, if you didn't think so after the Packers game, I imagine you think so now.
Yeah. Because you still have Detroit on the schedule.
Yes. You have to go to Miami.
And you still have a very, very tough Cardinals team.
Yeah.
That just plays hard.
Yep.
And that's not you.
Yep. And you gotta go play in Arizona in week 18.
Yeah.
Where they might be playing for either the division or seeding. And you're gonna be playing for nothing.
Yeah.
So embarrassing. Like that's what the last 2 games have been for San Francisco. Frankly, I think they kind of needed it. They needed some sort of wake-up call, not for this year, but that, you know what? It's time to pull the plug on whatever this iteration of the 49ers is.
Well, that, and there are cracks everywhere. I mean, I think that's what we heard following the game, right?
Yeah, dude. This was George Kittle after the game. I'll explain what the questions were here in a second. Well, I'll just explain it first. George Kittle was told, "Hey, you only had 1 catch. Do you have an explanation for that?" That was the crux of the questioning, and then he gets asked, "Were the Bills doing something to take you away?" Those were kind of that was the line of questioning here to George Kittle. And here's what he had to say, and I'll explain why this jumped out to me coming up here in a second. Here's George Kittle. This is courtesy of 95.7 The Game after the 49ers loss to the Bills last night.
I did. I did not. No. I do not have an explanation. I think I ran like 6 more routes the rest of the day. Could be a combination of that, but no idea. Oh, goodness gracious, no. No, I didn't feel that. I felt pretty open multiple times. This is what it is.
Yikes, dude. That's not great.
That's not great.
When George Kittle, captain, I love Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, whoever the quarterback, that's my teammate. I love that guy. Ross Dwelly's awesome. Eric Saubert's awesome. Oh my God, Nick Bosa and Sam Okawanu, all my teammates are great. When that guy is after the game like, yeah, I only ran 6 routes. What do you want me to do? Yeah, I thought I was open. It is what it is.
It's wild. I mean,
Go ahead.
The 6 routes, I'm going to take that out because like he should have ran more than 6 routes, but let's be honest, the Niners only had 18 passing attempts.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen only had 17 passing attempts, and one of them was to himself somehow. Like this is so I'm going to take that out of it, but the fact that he thinks he was open, okay, maybe there are 3 routes where you run, but there was someone else who was open as well. So there's possibilities, but just the overarching theme is that you got a player who's a warrior, who never throws anyone under the bus, who's looking around like, hey, like, look, I'm not going to take it. You guys can ask me questions about whatever, but I'm not, like, it is what it is. Like, there's nothing I could have done more.
Yeah.
Like I did the 6 routes that I was supposed to run. I got open on those routes. They didn't throw the ball to me. I would like to have had more than one catch, but I'm not going to sit here and throw a flame. I'm just going to be very like short and contrite and like this is it.
Yeah, it wasn't we've got to play better. I've got to do this better. That's the first time I've ever heard George Kittle just openly be like, I don't know, man. Like I did my thing.
I think it's interesting because we also cut audio with Malik Monk and sort of what Malik Monk says versus what George Kittle says is like he starts to explain like, no, it's on us. We have to be better, blah, 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 blah. Like we'll
play the Malik Monk sound coming up.
Yeah, but it's interesting where you do see 2 teams that are both. I think with this, the Niners understand that this deep into the season, you're cooked. Yes. Like Kittle understands. Like the Kings, they're like, man, if we're cooked, we got another 61 games to drag this thing out. That's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah. Scout Recycler says playbook shrinks in that type of weather. Totally. And Kyle Renata said he did drop a screen pass. He sure did. On a 3rd and 10 from the 5. Just dropped it flat out. It's just, no, it's how there's a couple different things here. One, the 49ers are not going to win that game last night. They could have been fully healthy, and I don't think they were going to win that game last night. They're not that good this year. They make too many mistakes. They commit too many penalties. They had a bunch of turnovers. Like you're not going to beat Buffalo, whether you have this version of the 49ers or the 07 Patriots. That's the case. What'll be interesting to me is how Kyle Shanahan bounces back from this. Because they're not here. I know that everybody wants him fired right now, or there's a large contingent of the fan base that wants him fired. I don't think the 49ers are going to do that.
No, and rightfully so. Like, again, I'm a continuity guy. I do have frustrations with him.
Sure.
And I always wonder if he's the guy that can get you over the top.
Sure.
And I don't, he makes some personnel decisions with like, like, is Staley ever helped this team? Like there are some things, some decisions that he's made, like whether it's like the guy up in the booth, down in the like all of these things where he's had direct influence on the fact that they didn't fire their special teams coach early in the season, and like all of these things that you can pin on him. But overall, I mean, this is a season where, I mean, you lost McCaffrey for 10 weeks. You lost Brandon Ayuk in week 4. The injuries were extreme and kept happening, and like nothing really worked out well. So you have these seasons sometimes.
Yes. And that's why I'm not in that Kyle Shanahan's got to go camp.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if we're at a tipping point right now. It's not about, can they win out this year? It's about, hey, this season's a disaster. You might go 5-12. That's on the table. You're probably looking at something more like 6-11 or 7-10. But either way, you're going to have a losing season. Okay. It's not about, can you avoid a losing season? The season's lost. It's about, hey, what does it look like after you have this disastrous year? Because in 2020, everybody was super able to go, all right, well, hey, very banged up year, but you got Nick Bosa coming back. Deebo Samuel was hurt. You got Deebo Samuel coming back. You draft Brandon Ayuk. They drafted Javon Kinlaw the next year. Obviously didn't end up working out, but there were reasons for optimism going forward. You had prime George Kittle still. You had prime Raheem Mostert. There were reasons for optimism. Now is a different spot. Now it's, hey, you're going to have a lost year, and also there's going to be a ton of turnover.
Yeah.
And what does that look like in 2025? Are you going to lose George Kittle? Like not lose him like to cutting him. Are you going to lose him where he's going, yeah, I only had this many targets. I don't know. And is that because if that's the case, then you've got a big problem.
Well, that and the window was already closing. You already have a bunch of players that were playing. I don't want to say like playing out the end, but like Trent Williams is 36. And you got a bunch of guys who are 31, 32. Like the end is near no matter what. And you just had a throwaway season.
Yeah.
That's a throwaway season for these players' carears. Like at a point where they don't have throwaway seasons left.
Nope.
And that's tough.
Yep. And that's why there's going to be some really, really hard decisions to make in the offseason, including whether to pay Brock Purdy, which I'm out on. At least not top of market money.
No.
This was an opportunity this season. You mentioned the injuries. Like this is a season where Brock Purdy could prove, hey, look, if you pay me $60 million and surround me with just okay talent, we're still going to be fine. I think this season he's proven that they are not.
Yeah.
He is not as good of a player as he was last year. He has regressed pretty severely. He apparently can't hold on to the football when it's a little bit cold and a little bit wet. And that's not just last night. Last night was very cold and very snowy, but we can go to the Baltimore game on Christmas last year. We can go to the playoff game against Green Bay. He has just never performed. The loss week 6 last year in Cleveland. We can go to every bad weather game he's played in, and he's played really poorly. You just that you can't. He can be your quarterback, but it's really clear like he needs to be on a $40-50 million deal where they have a little room to work and surround him with A to A+ weapons, because it's become clear this year when he's surrounded by C+ to B- weapons, he is very, very average.
Yeah.
And that's a problem if he's going to want $60+ million.
Yep. Well, clearly Steven Ruiz was right. We were wrong.
Which is the worst part of this.
Hey, I think it's the worst part with Kings fans too. It's like they said the only reason you won 48 games because of injuries. Then you have injuries in the last 3 weeks of the season and don't make the playoffs. And it's
and then the fact that the
DeRozan thing isn't going to work, and it's like, I'm not saying DeRozan's not working, but like the thing as a whole isn't working with DeRozan.
Yeah, they were worried about the Kings defense, and lo and behold, what are we talking about today?
Yeah,
their inability to get stops.
Tough luck.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I just want to be right one time. That's all.
Just once.
He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors the program. If you have thoughts on the 49ers, please let us know. 916-909-1320. 916-909-1320. How do they proceed in the lost season? Is it fire Kyle Shanahan time for you? Where are you at? On the Elk Grove Kia Talk line, 916-909-1320. We played that George Kittle sound for you, where he kind of went, I only ran like 6 routes, and I thought I was open, so I don't know. It is what it is. We're going to play Malik Monk sound from last night after the game, where it's about 2 minutes, and I have a couple of takeaways from it. But here's Malik Monk after the game. This sounds very different than George Kittle's post game, like you just mentioned. We have to run the audio only, though, because it's Malik Monk, who is one of the most authentic people in the NBA, and he curses a lot.
Yeah.
So we had to run the audio so we could beep it in the appropriate places. We couldn't just run James' video. If you want to see the full video, James_Ham NBA on Twitter and various social media. Here's Malik Monk after the Kings loss last night.
I don't know what it is. It's been the last maybe 2 weeks. You guys just can't seem to
Malik Monk will
figure out
answer
how
the
to
question.
close out games. What is it you guys are missing here?
That's a good question, man. I'm trying to figure it out too. Attention to detail. I feel like it's lacking a little bit. Because we get up 15, they have 4 mental breaks. Now they're back into the game. So I feel like we just got to pay way more attention to the details than we normally do.
Malik, the 3-point defense back here, Malik. 3-point defense. It seems like every team just shoots lights out against you. And I know there's an element of feeling unlucky to that, but whenever a team's doing it, it's probably a problem with you guys as well. When you're looking at the shots that teams are hitting against you, is it bad defense, you think, or is it just unlucky?
It can't be unlucky when they wide open. Excuse my language, but yeah, they just be wide open, man. Like I said, we just be having too many mental breakdowns, and I feel like we don't rotate enough when we need to. And yeah, man, that's why we 9-12.
Just how discouraging is it? I mean, I know Mike had called out some of the things you guys had left to be desired in Portland, and you guys cleaned up a lot of that tonight, but still come on the short end of the stick on that. Just how discouraging is that when you guys have worked to try and clean some of those things up?
Yeah, it's not discouraging, man. We are basketball players. I die for this sport, so I'm gonna do what I have to do with the team to make sure we get over this hump. So yeah, man, it's never discouraging because, like I said, this is my job, this is my life. So I just take it on the chin. And yeah, man, we're gonna turn around. I know we are, but we can't just have these mental lapses that gives people wide open threes, then that gives them momentum. Can't foul at the end of the quarter to send them to the free throw line. I think we was in a bonus with 10 minutes left. You're not gonna win games like that when other teams shoot free throws with 10 minutes left. So it's all on us too, though. It's on us for sure.
Audio there, courtesy of James Ham, again, James_NBA on Twitter, if you want to check out that entire Malik Monk media session. But that, I think, sums it up perfectly. And I think the video is like 5+ minutes. But this could be a press conference from last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same problems. It's all the same issues. And they didn't do anything this offseason to remedy those issues. That's where, when we talk about like who's at fault, that's where it's like, man, I have a really hard time putting this on the coaching staff when it was really clear that last year, like, man, hey, this roster is flawed in X, Y, and Z ways. And then they added DeMar DeRozan. Awesome player. Been fantastic, but didn't cure any of the things that ail them. And I think the fact that you have Malik Monk going, yeah, hey, we know what we got to do. We're just not doing it. We have these mental lapses and this and that. I think that's good news. I think.
Maybe. I don't know,
I'm
man.
Trying?
Like, I get some of the angst of the fan base. I mean, I get all of it because, I mean, you're at a point where it's falling apart again, and everyone can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I'll bring up this from Scout Recycler in the chat. It says Brown broke Herter and Keegan trying to make offensive players defensive players. No, man, you just have to have expectations.
Yeah.
Like there is like Mike talked about this. There is a minimum expectation level that you have to reach in order to play at the NBA level. And if you want to be great, that's just a minimum. We're talking about like this is pieces of flair. You know, like if you just want to do the minimum and put 3 buttons on, you know, Office Space, that's one thing. If you just want to do the minimum, you have to play defense at least at a league minimum, at league average.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play some defense. So to say you broke somebody, like you ask somebody to play defense and they crumbled and can't hit a 3 anymore, like come on, give me a break.
Yeah, I don't buy
That's
that.
just crybaby stuff.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Come on, like I don't get that at all. That to me, it's like you can blame coaches for a lot of things. Schematically, there are some things here that I'm like, okay, this is not going to work, and you keep doing it. You have to switch it up. It's not working.
Yep.
But to blame a coach for a player who, again, goes to the 3-point shootout and goes like 3 for 20, like, no. That's not a coaching issue. Like what's happened here with Kevin Herter losing his way, it's not. Like, and if it is, like, this is the NBA, man.
Yeah.
You got to be a big boy at some point. You got to.
Monk says that in there. Like, I'm a basketball player. I don't get discouraged.
Yeah, it's a player's responsibility to be, like, to show up to work and do the job. You're making $17 million to shoot a 3-point ball.
Yeah, I agree.
And you're not hitting them.
Yep.
So, okay. And this isn't just Kevin, but you have to be mentally tough. It's not an easy game, but it is a game.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting paid a lot of money to show up and play basketball.
Yeah.
And, you can't play defense? So that it's Mike Brown's fault because he asked you to play defense? Come on now.
That's insane.
That's wild.
I don't
to rake you over the coals, Scout, but like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. I'm not. That's where I've been at with Keegan too. Like, oh man, he has to be a two-way player.
Oh no.
I don't. Dragging a coach because he demands defensive effort. I'm sorry.
And quietly,
I won't get there.
De'Aaron Fox has become an excellent defensive player and a great offensive player at the same time.
Oh my God.
It can be
done. It can be done. All right. We'll keep talking about this. We'll have Mad Props Thanksgiving edition. And also, because this is, I'm as fascinated as anybody with Victor Wembanyama, we got to talk about Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
We got to do all that coming up. Jesse Tapia will be in with us for the final segment. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Mads, and we are the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Center.
I'm going to grab coffee. You know what?
Okay.
No. But mute the mics for a sec.
Hi, everyone. I need someone to tell me something good right now. Tell me a good thing. Okay, hi, guys. Hey, this is good. Shout out. I'm a big Christmas guy. I watched 2 bad Christmas movies over the weekend. We'll get to those in a minute. I did see the Michigan game. What an ugly game, but very fun. I love a good rivalry. Ohio State fighting because Michigan planted the flag at midfield. I get you're upset. You got to wear it. Play better. Ohio State is not that good. I've watched quite a bit of them this year, and I don't think I've ever once been impressed with them. I kind of think Will Howard stinks. No, I agree with you. Man, that was an ass whooping. Holy smokes. It's so weird seeing Arizona State in the Big 12 title game. We're also carrying the Big 10 title game, which is Oregon and Penn State. The conference realignment stuff is wild. Yeah, dude, like, that's just something you got to wear if you take an L. Get them next year. Yeah, that's dope. That's good. Although that may or may not be good if you're a Giants fan. Hell yeah. Salute, Mrs. Mack. This is what we need in the world right now. Hey, like the nihilism, Zabo. Nice. That's good. 7. Big time. All right. Yeah. Jesse Tapia is there, everybody.
Chatty House.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice. It's a great move by you. My cousin did a turkey on the Traeger on his smoker that was outstanding. Salute to Ken. I hope he's watching. That was some of the best turkey I've ever had in my life.
Ooh.
It was delightful.
I wish Karosh was here. We were having a smoker talk the day before. He was concerned. Yeah. Well, he said, I told you about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
He asked
his our boss if he smokes meat.
Actually, no, he asked 98 Rock.
Paul
Marshall.
Got it.
Yeah. And Paul just kept walking,
nice.
looked over at him and kept walking.
Smart. It is really good. Yeah, man. Smoked turkey is going to be the move moving forward.
I don't have a Traeger.
That's a good question, Soren. We're going to answer that one. What's your answer on this? 10 seconds. Mine's 7.
I don't know.
TBD for James. All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, Kyle, James, and now Jesse Tapia, the producer for D-Lo and KC, which is coming up at noon. Then we'll hand it off to those guys. What's up, Jesse?
What's up, guys? How was your four-day weekend?
It was all right. Not too bad. We're all down bad NFL-wise.
Yeah, I'm moved on to Juan Soto. Where are you going, buddy?
Oh, I didn't. There you go. Go ahead.
Now we're good. Yeah. Anyways,
now we're set.
Take 2. I'm back to. I'm off the Dolphins. Hoping Juan Soto just comes to the Red Sox and just breathes life into my sports life. Breathes air into my sports life.
Oh,
you get the Celtics.
I didn't know you.
Yeah, I got the Celtics, but we're more worried about they'll be 1 or 2 seed, whatever.
You're a Red
Talk
Sox
to me
guy?
in May. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Aaron Boone
and had the audacity to complain about it on air.
Wait. When?
Had the sheer audacity to be like, my life as a sports fan is so tough. The Celtics are all I've got.
Bro, the Red Sox
3
was
titles in the last
Red Sox
20
was
years.
6 years ago, bro.
Do you see this guy?
Yeah.
I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that.
You've seen your favorite baseball team. You're way younger than me.
Yeah.
You've seen your favorite baseball team win more World Series than I've seen my favorite baseball team win playoff series.
Yeah,
were you alive the last time the A's
Not
won?
even close.
Oh.
Not alive at all.
Yeah, well, to be honest, my baseball life has been great. Like the Yankees,
see,
whatever that is, it was all in the
and
90s and Mickey Mantle and all that. I'm a sports fan.
About it.
All it is irrational. All it is. All right. Yes, you're right. I've had a great life, but you know what? It's been a while.
Sports
all irrational.
Like 97% misery for that 3% of hell yeah. The worst part is you can't even enjoy it that long.
See, but the toughest part is I just want the Dolphins to be the one that wins. Like Red Sox, Celtics, whatever. Like for the Dolphins, just for once, just get it together.
This guy.
You got the Niners. You've got a
titles.
Super Bowl after Super Bowl. I mean, they don't win it, but at least you know what a playoff win feels like.
I was 4 when the last one won.
Yeah, but I mean, with the Dolphins, I think that what happened here is that the Dolphins decided to run victory laps for like 50 years. And that's hurt their chances of winning.
Yeah, I'm so over 1972 and all that stuff.
The karma
bottles and all that. Like, who cares, bro? Who cares?
Anyways,
I had a great Thanksgiving though.
Good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do turkey on Thanksgiving?
No, like I said, I've been kind of fighting the good fight. No turkey. Let's get rid of traditional Thanksgiving food. We had tamales, potato salad, chili beans. We had rolls.
That sounds great.
Apple pie, cookies. Yeah, it was a good time.
A lot of W's there.
You've been pushing for turkey?
Pushing to get it out.
Anti-turkey.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's time. None of us like it. We all pretend to like turkey or whatever. My mom
cousin
makes it great or grandma makes it whatever. Like it's fine. Nobody likes turkey.
My cousin made it on a smoker. It was really good. It was dynamite.
It's either like really good or it just stinks. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Have you considered turkey tamales?
No, I'm not doing that.
That sounds kind of fire.
I got a lane that I go with my tamales. I'm not putting turkey in them.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
That sounds kind of fire.
It does.
I got to rock with that.
No, that's disgusting.
I do love
Cranberry?
tamales, though.
Cranberry in there?
I got to go.
All right, let's go mad props.
Just bastardizing the tamale. Here we go. Mad props. We took the Thanksgiving Day NFL games and the Kings game against the Timberwolves on Wednesday.
Yep.
God, that was so long ago. And we take 2 props, we pit them against each other, and we figure out which one's going to be higher. Here we go.
It's time for Mad Props. 2 games, 2 props. Which number will be higher? That's for Kyle and James to decide.
Jesse.
Here's
Jesse.
Mad Props.
And also Jesse. We are here. And speaking of Jesse, tough week for our guy. Our first prop was Lions total points or De'Aaron Fox total points. James and I went with De'Aaron Fox. Jesse, Bet big on the Lions. He thought the Lions would score 30+. The Bears held them to 23 points. De'Aaron just over that, 26 points for De'Aaron Fox on Wednesday night. James and I get the victory. Jesse.
Disgusting.
That was tough for the Lions, especially because it looked like halfway through that game, it was like, oh, the Lions are putting up 50 today.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, I was talking to our Lions Wire editor at USA Today Sports Media Group, and he said that Ben Johnson, their OC, he said there's been 9 halves this year he's counted where he just forgets how to coach. And we saw one on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that you lost this one.
Maybe the next head coach of the Bears right there.
I would bet it's the next head coach of the Bears. That's a good spot.
Yeah. They got talent. It's just they need competence. That's it.
Hang on, let's put a pin in the clock management at the end of that game.
Yeah.
To move on. We had Giants passing yards or Kings Timberwolves total points. We all went Kings Timberwolves total. 219 points was the final number there. Drew Lock just 178 passing yards for Drew Lock.
Yeah, he's not very good, Kyle.
Not a great player.
Not great.
Turns out they all stink.
No, the Giants, bad team for sure. Brian Daboll not worried about his job security, oddly enough. Tyreek Hill targets or Domantas Sabonis assists. 9 targets for Tyreek Hill, 5 assists for Domas. We all had Domas in that one. We all took an L.
Yeah, that's Domas' fault, not us. Like, come on, Domas.
It was Kings offense in general. They've kind of gone away from the Domas is the hub. And if that's the case, then yikes. But also,
it's not looking good.
But also, I'm putting this a little bit on the Dolphins for being in a game script where they couldn't run it.
Yeah, I hate them.
Just out on them.
Yeah.
All right.
I hate them.
Can Mike McDaniel come back to San Francisco?
No, not yet. He's going to stay one more year.
Jahmyr Gibbs rushing attempts or Keegan Murray points. Jesse, you rocked with Keegan on this.
Yeah.
You said,
Keegan, we got to talk, Keegan. We got to talk.
Keegan's going to be my guy. James and I said, nah, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's our guy. He's on the Swift, Kirk, and the Dickers. That's our running back. Oof. Only had 9 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs, only 9 carries. And James and I still get the win.
Yeah.
Because Keegan Murray scored 8 points.
Again, another great pick by me. Not my fault that I lost. It's on the player.
You know what? We're giving you the win.
Yeah, you know what? Give me half of a point.
You got this right in spirit.
Yes.
Keegan, I texted this to Damien. Keegan less on Prize Picks is now more reliable than Tyrese.
Yeah,
Tyrese Halliburton.
It's really ugly.
It's scary right now. Not great. Just 8 points. I saw the Jahmyr Gibbs 9 rushing yards in the morning, and I was like, dang, Jesse's going to get that one.
Yeah.
Nope.
You would have figured.
Nope. I went and looked and I was like, oh, Keegan only had 8. Oh, brutal. Cooper Rush completions or Kevin Huerter minutes. You know, I rocked with my guy Huerter. I said, he's going to start knocking down a couple of threes. He's going to stick around in this game. No. 14 minutes for Kevin Huerter. 21 completions for Cooper Rush. Jesse and James, you guys get that one.
Here we go, Cooper Rush.
Kevin Huerter now has an ankle injury and is not playing at all as his rough season continues. Yikes. Last one, Jaden Reed receptions or Isaac Jones points. Jesse, you and I said Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed's got this. He caught 3 passes. Okay, don't feel that bad about that because, hey, maybe Isaac Jones doesn't play. No, Isaac Jones played and he went off. I believe he had 8 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, shout out Isaac Jones.
Yeah, James gets the easy victory there. Isaac Jones 8 points. Has had a nice couple of outings for the Kings.
One of the few bright spots, or like the only bright spot.
Yeah,
besides the guys that just show up every game, I guess.
Big week for James Ham. He goes 5-1 in Mad Props. I went 3-3. Jesse 2-4.
Probably my worst week so far.
I literally think that is your worst week. I think that's the first time you've been sub 500.
Yeah,
for a week.
I'm rolling. That's all I know.
Yeah, you're cruising right now. 46-23-4. I'm 38-31-4. Jesse 36-23-2.
I like that record.
Back to back. I like that record. Yeah. Anyways. James Ham, Jesse Toppy. I'm Kyle Madsen. Just on the Isaac Jones thing real quick. Reminds me of, and I say this as a full compliment, moves like Kevon Looney. Like kind of lumbers a little bit. But James, you mentioned it. Like definitely more athleticism. Definitely more ups.
Well, that and
he's the Loon Dog.
At this point in his career, he's not nearly as strong as Looney.
No, but he's 23 years old or whatever.
Yeah. But I really like the outline of the player that he's going to be.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, this is the type of player the Kings had to find. And the fact that you found him as a two-way, undrafted.
Yeah.
Like the Kings have done a really, really nice job of mining that side. Like, have they made some mistakes? Yes. Jalen's Lawson instead of, a starting center. That's one of those things that you miss on. But overall, I think, finding Keon Ellis as an undrafted free agent, finding Isaac Jones, and we don't know what, some of the other players will become, but certainly I'm here for the Isaac Jones experience. And he's a really, really good kid. Like, great to talk to in the locker room. God bless everything. Like, very, very humble, very good kid.
Yeah.
He's giving him something off the bench when no one else is, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
And like we said, that doesn't guarantee that he's going to be in the rotation moving forward. But if he's going to do what he did last night, should probably see some more minutes.
Yeah.
Yep. 1,000%.
Well, he went up against Victor Wembanyama, and I thought played excellent.
Yeah. Wembanyama's so sick.
He is.
It's that shot he made over Sabonis, at the fall away 18-footer at the shot clock buzzer last night.
Yeah.
That's just silly. If he's knocking down that shot, like, what are you going to do? And he's learning how to pass. Like, every time the Kings would double him on the block, he was hitting an open shooter for three.
Yeah, it turns out all the things I said about him were true.
Like, literally every single thing, and he's halfway through, quarter of the way into his second season.
Maybe they kind of undersold him a bit, too.
I mean, the passing last night from Wembanyama was what impressed me the most, because, like, we've seen the shot making. We kind of know it's going to be there. 5 of 9 from 3, 11 of 17 from the field. He had 14 boards, 3 blocks, the 11 assists. And so many of them were direct results of, hey, we got to double this guy. And that's, I don't think, a Kings issue. I think that's just how teams have to play him, because he's 7'12", and he just easy pass, skip to the corner, wide open 3, bucket.
Yeah, he's tough, man.
34, 14, and 11 with a steal and 3 blocks.
They started running the pick and roll with him, and the Kings kept switching. And I thought the Kings guards did a really nice job of sticking with him, and he did not feel confident at all. Like, if he was going to put the ball on the floor against Fox, he's going to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kept evolving out of that. They ran the same play set. It was like we were watching, like, the 1994 Utah Jazz, where it's just like Stockton Malone. It was like Chris Paul in the pick and roll with Wembanyama again and again and again. And I thought the Kings did a perfectly fine job. They just sagged off of Chris Paul, and he burned him with a jumper here and there that hurt.
Yeah. Are the Kings cooked?
Yes, 1,000%, absolutely, positively cooked. It's four guys who contribute every night: Malik Monk, Fox, DeRozan, and Sabonis, and then it's a bunch of other guys. And I don't want to lump Keon into there because he's been decent this year. I think Isaac Jones has been good for the minutes he's gotten and all that, but this team isn't it. Like, you got to switch up. You need different role players or something. You got to switch it up here. I don't think you're going to see any improvement from within or anything like that. Maybe Keegan figures it out, but I'm not counting on Kevin Huerter to figure it out when he's coming back.
No.
Trey Lyles can't stay on the court enough for him to figure it out.
Man.
It's just the team's not good enough right now.
That's brutal.
It's a roster thing, I think, right now at this point.
I agree.
Yeah.
You just can't survive in the NBA. There's 2 with 4 dudes.
It's literally it right now.
It's not. You have teams like Boston who are super deep. You have teams like the Thunder who are super deep. It's not the big 3 era anymore.
Yeah, and
I think the league's just too talented.
Turns out you also need consistent 3-point shooters to be successful in the NBA.
Yeah, you need to the Kings, and I know this sounds so like elementary, but in an NBA where the 3-pointer is so prevalent, if you're going to take them at one of the lowest rates in the league while also make them at one of the lowest rates in the league,
you have no shot.
You can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And then that has nothing to do with their defensive issues.
Yeah.
Where they're giving up threes at a ridiculous rate.
I saw Deuce tweeted yesterday or whatever. Like, the Kings were great on the inside and all that, but the game was lost at the 3-point line.
That's it.
It's literally all it comes down to at this point in the NBA.
It feels like we say that every single night. The Kings' 3-point attempt rate, by the way, where are we at? No, it's actually 20th. That's not too bad.
I got a question about that too. Did Monty do a bad job of, like, adding 3-point shooters, or just keeping this roster, like, with 3-point shooters, or did they just massively regress?
They've massively regressed.
Yeah, I think the shooting is a regression issue. I think the defense is a roster issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know. The defense, like schematically, there's some flaws that are
What would you
causing
have?
part of it.
What like what?
Well, I mean,
What stands out to you?
I think that they've put way too much of an emphasis on stopping the inline drive, and then when they tried to adjust that, was against Portland, right? Portland attacked the middle, so I mean, it's tough. You're going to give up one or the other.
Yeah.
And for right now, I'm going to try to take away the 3. And the Kings have been hoping that the coaching staff has been hoping that by giving them more time to figure out how to basically like accordion, like cut the lane and then get back out to the shooters, and they think that they can work that out. But the only guy who's getting out to a shooter is De'Aaron Fox. Yeah. He's the only one who's being able to get to that shooter. And so they probably have to make an adjustment and figure it out. Offensively, like there's a lot of people who want to scrap the offense and start over. I don't get that. Like the offense still makes a lot of sense to me. I just, I think for Mike Brown's own sake, he probably needs to stop saying spray 3 like 500 times in pregame and postgame.
They're just not doing it. Like it's just not. They're working for 2-pointers.
Yeah, I mean his point against Portland, like we killed him in the first quarter. We were really good in the first quarter. We were really good in the fourth quarter. He's like, but in the second quarter we had 2 spray 3s, and in the third quarter we had 3 spray 3s. And he's like, we went 1 of 2 and 1 of 3. He's like, we just went away from our basic principles. Like, why are we not doing it? But I mean, you got the defense has some sort of say in what you're doing. It's just the Kings aren't doing a good enough job of enforcing their will on teams. Like they're getting what the other team wants them to get.
Do you think I have a hard time believing that part of that isn't the fact that they added a high usage player who just works out of the mid range. Like so much like that. I can't disconnect those two things. Like, oh man, they're not shooting as many threes, and the threes they are getting are guys that are standing in the corner for a bunch of possessions. Then it's like, oh hey, you got to go knock it down. And then they have 2 guys in De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan that are shooting in the mid range as often as they do. Like all of those things feel connected to me.
Well, I've said it a bunch of times too. It's really tough to get wide open threes, although they're getting plenty of them. But it's hard to get the type of threes that you're talking about when you are living in the mid range, because as opposed to collapsing the defense on an inline driver like De'Aaron Fox, or collapsing the defense on Domantas Sabonis attacking the rim, and then the spray 3s are open.
Right.
You're not getting that squish. It's a reverse of what's happening on defense. Completely. Yeah. They're not getting the push in because they have all these guys that are living in the mid range. So it doesn't completely collapse. So now the shooters don't have as far to travel to go get. I mean, the defenders don't have as far to travel to get to your shooters, and that's because of the mid range.
Yeah.
So
that's like, I know it's more complicated than this, and this is why I don't want to. I promise I know it's more complicated than this. But my question, if Mike Brown was sitting here right now, my question would be, assuming this is in private, why don't you just go back to the dribble handoff stuff? Why don't you just go back to Domantas Sabonis as the hub of the offense and pick and rolls with De'Aaron Fox and dribble handoffs with Keegan Murray? Why is this not? Is it literally because, hey, you got to let DeMar DeRozan do his thing too?
Maybe
and those things can't coexist.
Well, it's also possible that the defense is sagging in because they're not concerned about DeMar DeRozan shooting the 3.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know that he fits with what they want to do offensively. But I think we're kind of seeing it.
But you bring in a guy like DeMar, like you kind of just got to switch things around. No, like other guys just got to, like DeMar. You needed a guy like DeMar DeRozan coming in this year.
Did you?
Yes, you needed a guy who can go out and get a bucket. That's why,
he doesn't shoot threes.
You work around that. Like that's why Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray got to get going. Like Keegan Murray can't shoot at all. Kevin Huerter can't shoot at all. Trey Lyles can't shoot at all. Like that's the issue.
I don't disagree.
I guess I would posit that ball finds energy, right?
Yep.
That's a phrase that we hear and say all the time. I think that, and this is a big like core tenet of what Steve Kerr wanted to do with the Warriors, because Steve Kerr was a career role player. He understands the value of like ball moving, touching ball, putting ball on the floor, passing, even if you're not shooting it, just being involved. Versus, hey, Keegan, go stand in the corner, and sometimes the ball might come to you. And when it does, let it fly.
Knock down your shot.
I don't think that their current offense is conducive to a shooter getting in a good rhythm.
Okay, so let me counter with this. Last night, second chance points.
We have 90 seconds.
18-7 Kings. Points in the paint, 52-28 Kings. Fast break points, 24-4 Kings. Points off turnovers, 25-7 Kings. Kings had 101 shot attempts to 82. The offense
That's a win on the box score.
Wasn't the problem. The problem is you got beat by 33 points on 3 points on 3-pointers. Game over.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I'm going to push back because I feel like the offense is a little bit the problem when you took, what did we say, 19 more shots and 14 fewer threes?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Team has no reliable 3-point shooters at this point either. Like Keegan, year one, that's great. That's not what
No,
he
it's
is.
Domas at 2.6 shots per game.
Yeah, they have no reliable 3-point shooters at all. And that's going to be an issue no matter what. Mark can be here, not be here. Like no one is reliable.
So you believe Keegan Murray is not a reliable 3-point shooter?
No, no, not at all. Like
he's done. He's
not
the first 2 years.
I'm not going to give up on him, but I'm not going to call him a reliable 3-point shooter. Like that first season was 2 years ago. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, what is he? Just taking off from keeping going from what he was last season. He's not reliable.
Worse.
Yeah, he's not reliable.
Yep.
Then that's, I mean,
you don't have reliable 3-point
shooters.
shooters.
We can't get into it right now because I lied when I said 90 seconds. Now we have a minute. If that's the case, if Keegan Murray is no longer a reliable 3-point shooter, then I think you got to scrap everything. If that's what it is, if he's not, then what is he?
But the
because he
problem
doesn't
is,
create his own shot, he doesn't attack. Oh, and he's not going to make threes. And what does he do?
But then one day he's going to roll out of bed and be the same player he was before, and that's what you're waiting for.
What if he's just closer to year 2 though?
Broke a rookie 36%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's not elite though, or anything like that. Like year 1 is like, oh, Keegan Murray can light it up.
He shoot like 27% right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
He's way worse than he was last year.
Yeah,
I think there's an ascension to the mean coming. But he's got to get the shots up first, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's a him thing.
I haven't given up on him, but like this is just right now. This is what he is. This is how he's playing right now. So I can't call him anything else.
It's fair enough. All right. D-Lo and KC coming up next with Jesse Tapia. Jesse, appreciate you hanging out. He produces that show. D-Lo and KC will be hanging out with you until 4. James and I, we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. right here on ESPN 1320. We will still be sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Until then, drink water and be nice people.